Hello, YouTube. Hopefully we're live now. And Charlie's here. Gus, as always, it's not here yet, so waiting for him. Until then, I don't know. Do you want to introduce the Black Iron Brothers without Gus, or shall we wait for
Yeah, I mean, it looks like I'm going to have to introduce the Black Iron Brothers. Because,
okay, so yeah.
Yeah, so we basically just started this podcast that we've wanted to do for a while now, which was we wanted to, at the very core of the podcast, just basically do very short, simple ways of explaining topics that people often overly complicate. So the goal, hello.
Hello.
He's in the house.
Look at that white balance. Look at that beautiful white balance. He's practically an angel.
This is a high quality camera, I'll have you know.
High quality camera, massively backlit.
It's not a terrible camera yet, it's just premium quality.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome Gus here. So were we just like Gus wanted to, we were waiting for Gus. Charlie wanted to introduce your new formation, right? You're pretty new on YouTube. You just started the channel, and if you guys want to introduce it, then go for it.
Yeah, I kind of started, but then you came on. So I mean, all I was saying basically, just to catch up, was I was just basically trying to say that what the podcast is about is basically trying to simply explain a lot of things that people are needlessly overcomplicating about nutrition, about training, about recovery, and all that kind of stuff. So the first 2 episodes that we've done so far, we released episode 2 today. Episode 1 was basically how to, lose body fat, how to drop body weight, basically, but mostly body fat. And today we released how to gain muscle, how to get bigger, basically. So anything you wanted to say about that, Gus?
Nope.
No? Okay, cool. Of course. Yeah, that's it, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's new. Have a look. At least 3 people have seen it.
3? I feel like it's more than 3, surely. Jesus.
Yeah, you're doing well. And is there any structure you want to do like every Sunday, or how's like? Did you plan ahead a little bit, or just gonna be on the fly?
I think we're trying to do every week, basically. I think.
Yeah, we're trying to do once a week. We haven't got like an exact schedule yet.
Yeah.
We're trying to. It's good fun. We just try and figure out when we can do it regularly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any topic in mind, or you want to like get the audience help you with it, or I like to like ask the audience what they want me to talk about, things like that. So
yeah, I mean we've asked what people would like to hear from us, basically, but we're starting out with some basic topics that we feel very comfortable to just basically explain, and then it's going to be we may be complicating things with discussions and Q&As and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we're going over the simple stuff that's often misconstrued, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why the first 2 that we're doing are like super, super basic. They're like 15 minutes long, and they have pretty basic information for some, but a lot of people, in fact, it's very surprising to me how many people may not know that sort of thing, especially because it's the same kind of conversation that I have maybe a couple times a day, every single day, where someone will come up to you in the gym and they're like, oh, I'm just trying to lose belly fat. How do I do that? Or, oh, I'm just trying to get bigger, but I'm really struggling, and all these kind of like very simple questions that are asked, which really do have a simple answer to them. It's just we say those same things over and over and over and over again. And hopefully the podcast will just like, from now on, I can just go, here's a link, go have a look at this and then come talk to me.
Yeah. Yeah, in that way it's great, but you still have to repeat yourself a lot.
You still have to repeat yourself, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. I have a good question for you guys, and then I'm gonna let you answer it. I'm gonna share, because I have to do like everything is like a mini studio here. So I'm gonna share the link for this, and then until you talk, I'm gonna switch off a little bit. So I have a question, which I've been really interested to hear you from, guys. So what would you do if you wouldn't be a personal trainer? So like I don't know, something come up and you cannot train anymore. I'm interested in like, what would you do? Would you stay in like sports field, or you could do
miserable.
something totally different?
Yeah.
I don't want to even think about it. I love what
Okay,
I
I'll
do.
let you take a little bit, and then whoever comes up, we can talk, and I'll share the link.
I kind of know. He's gone. He's left us. I kind of know, but like if we're gonna say I couldn't be a personal trainer, I'm gonna really think like what I'm gonna just basically exclude sports in general, because I'm not gonna try and be fancy with it and be like, oh, I'd be a coach for a team or something, because that's trying to like work your way around the question. I'm gonna completely avoid sports altogether. I'd like to be something like an architect or something. I think that's pretty cool. I've always liked architecture. I find it quite interesting. I like design. Maybe something like that. Right. You tell me now.
He can't even respond. He's like, I'm interested. No, you talk amongst yourselves.
I'm interested, but I don't want to fucking know.
I'll watch it back later. I don't care. I'm sorting something out. I've got to get the graphics ready.
I'm running a studio over here. I don't want to listen to you.
Not important. This is just filler. I don't care.
I'm here. I want to hear Gus what you're saying.
That was all.
Spending time. I don't really care. Architects.
Come on, man. You got a channel now. You need to know how to run, man. If I disappear, you need to take over.
Come on, Gus. What?
I would probably, which is something I'm still sort of interested in. I'd probably try and do something with like extras. That's what I'd probably try and do. If I was no longer able.
But surely you would just act. You wouldn't go for extras, because I mean, like you've got a good head for,
Depends how good you are, I guess.
You could probably be Jason Momoa's stunt double. Like I know everyone says this all the time, jokingly about you, but you could probably could be Jason Momoa's stunt double.
That's it. I'd retrain as I can't be a stunt double because I can't do any exercise.
See, I didn't think of that. See, that's why architect is a great answer. Take all of the
extras. You could be an extra that in anything, I guess.
Yeah.
You could be a terrible actor and still be an extra. See?
Yeah, but that's not really a living, though, is it? Can you get a living from being an extra?
I mean, you've just insulted thousands of people.
I'm so sorry, extras around the world, for recommending all extras.
I guess it depends how many times they use you, I guess.
I still think it's probably pretty grim, though, because you're probably making like a couple £100 a day or something, but like the days are probably like 12 to 15 hours. I mean, I've been on a few shoots before. They can be bloody miserable, to be honest.
This is the thing with going into it. Like I wanted to do it as a thing alongside of PTing as well, but they give you almost no notice, and then they want the whole day, and you're like, well, that's not really what I was going for. I wanted to do like you wish it would be like another self-employed profession, but in reality it is. You're kind of like a self-employed person that turns up and they just kind of say, stay there, be quiet, do that, do it again, go away.
Yeah.
But some I'm sure, like if you make it big, it could be great. If you got in the industry, a lot of people got in like by being an extra and then becoming famous.
Definitely.
It could be a fun job. It's more of an active job.
One line or something.
Yeah. If you have a line, like you go up massively, like your money and everything, your rights go up. Like if you say something, they're like, oh, he's got rights now.
I mean, there's so many people this is maybe a bit of a weird example, but people like Kevin Hart and stuff that like, I remember seeing Kevin Hart in like loads of like one-line roles in like 2006 and 7 and stuff like that. Like more than a decade ago, you'd see him in stuff and he'd just be like, what's that about? And then that would be his whole thing in the film, and it's just like he's.
I mean, if you got a speaking role was always important. Like you there's like different brackets of pay, and as soon as you have a speaking role, you like it's a massive bump up.
Yeah.
I guess base level would be like you're a dead person in the background of a fight.
Yeah. That's not the best like showing your acting chops, is it?
Which is also what I can
really
see.
Well.
Yeah, it can seem depressing because it can seem like you get like £100 for like 12 hours work, but they have to have like a low value, I guess, for. Like,
you can also. I don't know, there's a compilation of bad extras. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Just like people walking like the most unnatural walk in the background of a film, and it's just like that. It's like you completely ruined it for everyone.
They're like, you're going to get groceries. What are you doing?
Why are you walking like this? No one walks like that.
Why are you fighting the shopkeeper? This is not your time.
Oh dear.
But would you only consider to be extra, like specific roles?
You only asked for one.
I
don't need extras. I don't need more than one thing. You said, tell me one thing. You can't change the rules of the game.
No. That's what I'm asking. If you've been extra or like a doubler or something, it would be like, would you be willing to change your body?
Oh,
You know,
that's a good question.
Well, like
to your
permanently. I
roles,
mean, you could.
get fat, get skinny, lose muscle, things
You
like that.
can't.
Would you able to do it?
No, you'd have to fit into certain things. I mean, like if you put a hoodie on, you can change your body composition immediately.
You definitely can. You can
You know,
make
like
yourself look real normie.
Yeah, you put like a tight t-shirt on and you look large, and then
Yeah.
you put a hoodie on and people couldn't even tell.
There was
Yeah,
a
but look at,
while
like-
where Hollywood wanted Dwayne Johnson to just be like, they were like, "Oh, you're too big." I don't know if you've seen any of those films, but there's a few films like from, again, like 2010, 11 and everything, where he's just started acting, came out of the WWE, and they were sort of like, "You're too big. Like, we can't, there's nothing, there's no films where we want you to be that big." So he was trying to play these almost like comedy roles where he wasn't as big, so they made him lose weight. And then he kind of almost got flabby, and then they're like, screw it. Let's just make him alpha, gigantic, Giga Chad.
Yeah, Arnold had the same. Remember, like Arnold had the same story, but he came out from he just won the universe, Mr. Universe. And then like in 3 months time or something, like really short notice that like, I don't know which one, the first movie, which one the first
I remember this story though. I can't remember which film it is, but I remember.
So he was like
was it Conan?
300 pounds, and he had to go down to 210 or something.
Yeah.
And they said like, you have like 3 months to lose this mass. He's like, I just came out from Mr. Universe. That was the biggest there. Like, and I have to lose like 80 pounds or whatever. And then he was just running every day, just run, no training. And then on the day he was like 210. And then
what film was that? Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've heard this story before. I can't remember what film that was.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because his first movie was the Stay Hungry or something, but it was like a bodybuilding movie, so I don't think it was that. And then it was the Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, I thought that was his big break. Was Conan the Barbarian one?
Well, they wanted him to be big in that one. Yeah, he was big in Conan.
They wanted him to be big. It was designed for him, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting.
But now the entire industry hates him.
Like Christian Bale go from the mechanic to be Batman and stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's like,
sure.
Well, he's fucked his body up though massively. Like a lot.
Yeah, some people look really different after it. Matthew McConaughey did it, didn't he? And he, after Dallas Buyers Club, his actual face looked different.
Gaunt.
Yeah, but like Matthew McConaughey, it's a really good example because he was always this athlete or like charmer and everything. He was always this athletic, good-looking guy, but they never take him anywhere. And then once he lost all this muscle, get this drama roles, that's why he started to win the Oscars and like really deep roles when it looked like an average guy and like really, not just like fit in one fitness role, but you can be like a dad or like an average guy. Someone goes to space.
But he was also actively making himself look worse, though. I mean, like if, as you said, like Dallas Buyers Club, he was very skinny, obviously, in that. True Detective as well. Like, I don't know if you've seen True Detective. Amazing, amazing show. Probably one of my like top 3 shows of all time. Season 1, Matthew McConaughey looks like not sickly, but kind of just like this guy who does not look after himself at all with this like ratty ponytail. Yeah.
And it's like it's the same decision to make. Okay, almost the same. Then if you get a role like a superhero movie and then you have to bulk up like the Thor, every movie and everything, like they probably take a lot of steroids. Maybe not a lot, but like they have to take steroids to get big. Sacrifice a lot of things to change their body to look like a superhero, and then they're like they just always putting up higher and higher every level every year. Just they have to look like more and more impressive.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Hemsworth is a good example of that.
Even if it wouldn't fit your body, like you have to go through the strings and like essentially maybe ruin your body because you don't know. Like I guess they have like doctors and they check them like levels and everything, but still you don't know like the long-term effects on taking steroids or like abusing your body that much that like last 10-15 years he was playing Thor and then now he's playing Hulk Hogan, stuff like this. So just to build muscle in a short amount of time, they build as much muscle as someone built in 10 years in like 6 months, and then they play another role and then they're back.
Yeah.
Or Christian Bale go from like, you know, like a 50 or 40 kilo guy, like literally not eating anything and then just taking, I don't know, ecstasy or whatever that he was taking, amphetamine all the time, just to lose a lot of weight, muscle, everything. And then back to like a 90 kilo Batman guy.
Yeah.
And then go fat, another role, and then go back down. And then, I don't know, it's not same, not healthy. Like, I don't know, which one is, I guess this, like, at the end, it was better to build some more muscle, but you have to take steroids to do that in 6 months time. So, you know, it's always.
Well, the issue of them don't actually. A lot of them didn't actually train at all, or really properly train, and then they have to just suddenly absolutely smash it. Like Kumail Nanjiani, like I use this guy as the example. He's going to be in the Eternals soon. Like I've never seen a nutty, probably like one of the nuttiest transformations I've ever seen. And he went from like full on dad bod, didn't look good, like man tits kind of situation going on. And now he's absolutely just deezed, just like these like garden hose bicep veins, just looks absolutely ridiculous and super, and his jaws like completely changed size. And that's that's a clear case of like a guy in his late 40s who's just like gone from doing nothing to just like straight up blasting anabolics. So I think he's responded quite well to them. Like it's actually worked quite well for him. But oh my God, I'm looking like into my soul.
It was like Inception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a nutty one, but it's definitely super unhealthy what he's doing. What all of them do. I mean, Chris Hemsworth is probably, you know, not necessarily super healthy as well when he's blasting right now to play Hulk Hogan. I mean, he's like, I'm going to be the biggest I've ever been, naturally. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the film industry it's you know, it's always really tricky, and it's, you know, it just depends how much you're going to sacrifice, and obviously what is more important to you is like to be like a side job or something like extra, or if you want to take it to like you are an actor and you know, your body is just a tool to express your talent or whatever, like to create that character what they want to see. So in that case, they don't mind gaining or losing weight. They usually just, the body is just a tool. So
I mean, if you asked me to play Batman, I would take all the steroids in the world. Like if you were like, you need to get absolutely deezed to play Batman, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Just inject it straight into my face. I'd be fine with that. If it meant playing Batman,
that's when you know that you are more an athlete than an actor. Because I guess the actors, they don't think like this. Like,
yeah, probably not. Well, Robert Pattinson was saying like, I'm not going to train. I don't want to participate in like the negative culture around like body image for men or whatever. And it's like, you're Batman though. You are supposed to be absolutely massive and jacked and strong and agile and all this kind of stuff. You can't just be skinny.
Yeah,
you can't
be
just
honest,
be skinny and frail.
Yeah. It's portrays a very, very bad, distorted view of like how the man physique should look like. But if you think about like the 80s and 90s, like Batman was like the Wall Kilmer, or who was the other guy?
Val Kilmer, and what's his name? Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. They definitely wanted him.
George Clooney was Batman, wasn't he once?
And George Clooney.
Yeah. They were like more like charmers, you know. They were like the old school actors who were like a very nice face, but the body wasn't like there to like you have to super fit.
Yeah, very normal bodies.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to be super jacked. They just need to be athletic.
I don't agree.
Batman's different because Batman is like the only one who doesn't have like superpower.
Yeah.
So he needs to take a lot of steroids and everything.
Yeah. But I mean, to sell like an acting role, you don't have to be huge.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do think that you can suspend belief better when you see, like, I think that the person actually who incarnated the like size and strength of Batman the best was Ben Affleck, even though the movies, no offense, sorry Ben, were kind of trash. well, I don't want to say trash, but they weren't particularly
Well,
good.
he didn't sell it with his personality. He sold it maybe with his physicality.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, if you had the acting chops, or rather the script, or whatever you want to say, of Christian Bale's Batman, but with like the actual just size of Ben Affleck, who's like genuinely a big guy in real life, like he just looked like, oh yeah, he could definitely mess up like multiple people at the same time. Because in Batman versus Superman or whatever, he has a fight in a warehouse and he just fights like 20 guys hand to hand. And you can believe, like, well, obviously it's fake, but like you can believe, like, oh, he could definitely handle himself better than Christian Bale can handle himself because he's like twice his size.
I don't know. I really like the Christian Bale Batman. It was cool, especially like a third one was old and it was like broken everything, like 10 years of fighting, and it's like just like the metal holding him together. It was pretty good, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that was my favorite trilogy ever. I love the Christian Bale Batman trilogy, but like as far as like how Ben Affleck looked, how big he was, like he looked like what I'd imagine Ben Affleck, what I'd imagine Batman should look like. Just a massive dude.
Okay, so you wouldn't change your body for a role.
We got around full circle.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make small changes, but nothing drastic.
Yeah.
Bit of a and then Charlie.
Yeah, they were like, lose 2 pounds. I'd be like, I refuse.
Yeah.
And what do you think, Charlie? If you would be an architect, you would be still take time for training?
Well, I'm not allowed to, apparently, because my body doesn't work or something.
No. You can train. It's just personal training doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, well, in that case, yeah, I'd obviously still train like a mental case, because that is what I like care about the most. I probably would be still smashing it, and then coming home from my architect job to
what if you need to do like really like finite jobs and your hand is just like calluses and everything?
Gnarled up callousy hands, yeah.
Do like
You can do both. I think.
Okay. Hey, the reason I'm asking this because I don't know if have you seen the Apple event last week or this week?
No.
So the new, every year there's an Apple event, the new iPhone coming out, iMac, everything, and then Apple announced this. Let me share my screen so you can see this. Can you see this?
God.
She's punching.
So Apple is moving into the fitness industry.
Of course.
Full on. Can you see this? Yeah. So what they do, they have this. Obviously, they have the watch, but now like iPad everything, and then they're like really going in. They have like pre-recorded workouts, and they have new. I think they move into a couple different categories. You have like, let me look it up. But you have like Pilates, you have strength training, you have conditioning, you have CrossFit, and then obviously with the application, you have like 15 new countries, and then you get the Apple Watch, and you can train against other people, and you have this like virtual trainer as well. So imagine a future. I mean, we talked about this before, but if it's at some point we lose our job because of these things. Yeah, it's
well, that's kind of terrifying. Don't say that. God, that would be horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know if it's looking good, but I mean, still not new. Obviously, it's not personal training, but
well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I think we spoke about this a while back, where like maybe at some point there'll be a time where like you'll be able to go into a room that's like virtual reality, but they have all the equipment, and you can have like a virtual session with a PT. But I don't know how there's any piece of equipment that could replace a personal trainer recognizing issues in individuals' form.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's so like it's so fundamental to an individual learning, is being able to just like see those mistakes that person is making. And if that person isn't there, like you can have your watch on, you can have your phone showing you how to do it or whatever, but if you're not doing a deadlift right, you're not doing a deadlift right.
Gus, what do you think?
But is it going to be like online coaching essentially then? But like an online live session, is that what they're trying to do?
At the moment, they're just expanding their business to like different type of workouts. but it's like you sign up for I think $9 or £9 a month, and you can access to workouts and everything. But it's pre-recorded.
A bit like Peloton, but without the bike.
Yes, it's pre-recorded. You just need the space.
Yeah, pre-recorded. Again, they're not going to pick up on like the nuances of your technique. So it's great for people that love classes, but it's not going to replace actual physical coaching.
Yeah.
And also, it's not exactly like there's a huge gap in the market. I get like their intention to get in there with everyone else, but how many apps are there now? There's hundreds and hundreds of apps of like free online classes for training, or even paid training classes or whatever, and it's on your phone or your laptop or whatever, and you can do it at home with no exercise equipment or whatever. Like that kind of already exists to a large extent and a lot of people do use that kind of stuff. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of it because it's just like cookie cutter template stuff that doesn't actually really give you any sense of progression. But it kind of does already exist, where there's a lot of apps where it's just like a new training session every day kind of thing, like that exists already to a large extent.
So yeah, for someone is new and then they don't know the difference. I mean, like maybe a lot of video about this, and I reviewed the Pure Gym app, and like the Pure Gym app, for example, it says it's customized workouts, but can you explain to people what is what is the real customized workout and what is the template? Because what this app does, the way it's customized the workout, right? You choose if you want to gain muscle, lose weight, or I think the third one is like get fit or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then they give you different workouts by then. But how does it make it customized if it doesn't know you,
Exactly.
Like weight, your height, your training history, how deep you can squat, if you can do a lunge or not? What's your opinion?
And what is it basing the weights off of as well? Like what weight is it? Is it giving you a percentage-based weight or an RPE-based rate?
So you need to give you basic details like you would do in like in the MyFitnessPal or something. I guess you have to give you like height and weight if you want, and your gender.
I think you put the weights in, don't you? You put what you're lifting, and then it just calculates it off that.
No.
It doesn't even do that.
You just put your body weight, your height, your gender, and your age.
Oh, it just tells you the exercise, doesn't it? It doesn't tell you.
Yeah, it doesn't actually give you weight.
Give you like a 6-week program.
Yeah.
Like do 4 sets of 8 bench press, but it doesn't tell you how heavy. It doesn't tell you RPE. Doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
It's just do 4 sets of 8, something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's just very basic, isn't it? Really, it's just kind of like it's somewhat undercutting the PTs by just giving it to them for free, and then people believing that they're doing well because they've got this program. But in actual fact, it is probably pretty rubbish because it's not taking into account individual strengths and weaknesses, what their goals are specifically. It's just like get strong. Okay, well that's very vague. Like and it doesn't help that much. And also, are we talking about a 70-year-old lady who's never trained versus a young guy who's fit and has trained before? Like what your definition of getting strong is going to be very different to those people.
Yeah, I think the biggest lie, if you want to say, or misleading is they say that it's customized just because you choose what you want to do and the app gives you something.
Yeah.
But how does it different if I choose in the app and I put everything in and it's giving me a workout, or I put it in Google on YouTube that strength building workout and it's giving me 1 million workout and I do that, or fat loss workout and it's giving me fat loss workout. There's no difference. It's not customized just because you put your search words into the
It's
program.
just got a name. It's got a brand attached to it. That's all Apple's trying to do, is they're trying to attach a brand to fitness, and it works because they have a huge market base and so many other technological advancements, right? So they can combine that with the new revolution from what's happened with COVID in terms of online training and things like that, and people training at home. If they could capitalize that, it's very much moved towards class orientated things. People are trying to snap up that market while they can, and they're like, why not? We might as well.
Yeah.
Someone will subscribe to it, and then they'll forget that they're subscribed to it. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. That's what it
essentially
feels.
what
It feels a little bit lazy to me, like from Apple. It just does feel a little bit lazy. Like I'm sure they've filmed some good videos, and I'm sure they're filming some great workouts and everything. But it's kind of like there's no real intention there to get an individual's like better, really. You know, it's just like let's get a few more extra quid out of them and throw them some workouts kind of thing. You know, like as you were saying, like as far as like what's customizable versus like what's an actual custom program, is like there's so many facts and elements that go into an actual customized. You know, like I've got an online client who's training for strength and endurance for BJJ. Am I going to train him the same way as I'm training, you know, someone who's trying to get strong for a different sport, or someone who's just trying to get strong in general? No, that like the exercise selection is going to be different. The rep ranges are going to be different. The sets probably going to be different. It depends as well on their level of frequency, depending on how many times they have to train a week for their sport. You know, there's lots of things to take into account. And like to say customizable is like, well, it's not really, is it? It's kind of cookie cutter. There's going to be 15 different cookie cutter programs, basically. They'll write
But you can
15,
pick one, and therefore it's customizable.
Yeah, you can pick one of the 15. It's not
You opted into it, and therefore it's a custom choice.
Yeah. I think these apps is just try to keep you in a ecosystem. You know, when you buy your iMac, it works really good with your iPhone. It doesn't work good with like Android, so it's like force you to buy an iPhone, and then you have the iPad because they work amazing together. But then you just cannot get out of the system because you want to change something, then nothing works. And then to be able to sell the Apple Watch, you know, they need to somehow force people to buy the Apple Watch in the first place. And like, oh, we have this amazing program. It's just $10 extra or pounds. And you get like all this customized workout. But I was thinking like it's very misleading because it's not customized and the people are not going to see results, or it's like, you know, it could be like too hard, especially if you're a beginner. Do like a chest work, like a bodybuilding chest workout is just way too much. To do 3-4 exercises on your chest, 4 sets of 10 is just too much for your chest. Like, you know, if you cannot do 10 push-ups, like why would you do 4 sets of incline, decline, flies and dumbbell and barbell press?
Yeah.
And then go home, you know, and then come back and do like shoulders 2 days later or something. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Just way too much. And it's just like, it doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you how to, like, I went through the app and it doesn't tell you anything how to pick your weight. So like 4 sets of 10, but with what weight? You know, like something you can do 20 with, like you're not going to see anything.
And it's also just sort of like, if you're actually looking at any kind of solid programming, really there should be either percentage-based
like
or RP or reps in reserve. Yeah, but I mean, like there should be some format whereby, you know, individuals can understand that with periodization, you should be probably working within a mesocycle towards reducing your reps in reserve towards the end of your mesocycle, and then, you know, your new cycle having a few extra reps in reserve and working back down to 0 RIR again, or, you know, just like pushing your RPE high on the last couple of weeks of your program. Like none of that's going to be in there, obviously. Like there's just not, it's far too complex for Gen Pop to try to consider RPE, RIR and all that kind of stuff. And that's what a coach is for. That's what a PT is for, so that they can kind of sort all that out for you so that you don't have to think about it and worry about it too much. And hopefully you can develop autonomy and understand those things with time, but you're not going to learn that at any time from an app that's kind of like that one. You know, there are some really good fitness apps. There are actually some good ones. Like, I think it's Renaissance. It might be Renaissance Periodization, or it's the Juggernaut. It might be the Juggernaut AI.
Juggernaut one,
yeah, the Juggernaut AI. I think I know. I've actually got a client who I work with for powerlifting movements, and he uses that for his programming, and it's pretty in depth. Like, it's actually got some really good information. It's got your MAV, your MEV, your MRV. Like, it's calculating your volume and your RPE and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of quite actually in depth and has like good information on it. So if you're going to go for an app, go for something like that. Don't go for like cheap ones that really aren't going to give you anything actually customizable at all.
Yeah, and it's give you options as well. Like, it's explain, like, you know, if you too tired of this, like, do that instead of like this, how much you should use, and this, how much weight you should lose. Like, I think that's where always the personal training comes in, and customized program. Like, that's where, like, okay, for you, this like 4 sets of 10 is not gonna work, because first, maybe it's not your goal, or this movement is just not good for your shoulder or whatever. But the app wouldn't know, like, it's give you the best bang for your buck. But the personal trainer who comes in, like, okay, like, your shoulder is fucked, like, do this first, let's fix it, and then build up the strength or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Gus, anything you want to say about it? If no, then we move into the next question.
Move on.
Okay, so this is gonna be our main topic today is like, should women train different? So I'll see this popping up more and more nowadays, that personal trainers or like programs customizing into women, just training women, or encourage women to train, or somehow trying to sell their programs to women that they should train different, or they somehow they special, so they need a special treatment, or something that only women can do. Only women, they need a different trainer, or they need something different system for them to be, I don't know, the fun side of the workout, or be effective workout. I don't know if you familiar with the topic, but you probably see.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff whereby that you should change how you're training based on your cycle as a woman, for example, and like that. I do think that's true in the case of like probably like really high level women who are like very in tune with their body already and already performing at a relatively high level. But I do think that if we're just talking about your average, well, not your average Joe, your average Jane, whatever you would call it, I do think that it's not going to affect your workout, like the quality of your workout, that much. If you're a beginner, if you're a beginner, like your cycle in the month is not where you are in your cycle. It's not really going to like destroy your workouts, because anything that you're doing, really, you should be improving anyway, wherever you are in your cycle. But yeah, as you advance, maybe then it can start to have some effects. And, if you're quite experienced as a lifter, maybe, but I wouldn't really say that it's that noticeable for most of my clients as far as their performance, where they are in the month.
Yeah, I think people base it off, you have your luteal phase and your follicular phase, and they say that women have different strength levels in those, and sometimes they find certain volumes or weights more difficult. But the difficult thing is that it's almost subjective to each woman, right? So it's difficult to say you're going to be stronger this week, you will be weaker that week, because there's so much diversity and nuance with that you'll have a particular group of women will always feel bad 1 week before ovulation, all those kind of things. It's like you can't just pinpoint an exact rule for it. I guess if they were trying to go into like things that we kind of know about the difference between men and women, is if you think of it as a scale, you think of a really large man would probably need to they can handle less volume. Yeah, and then if you go down to the bottom of the scale of like a really small woman, they can typically handle more volume, more frequency. That's one of the main differences between the two. But apart from that, and then just taking into account individual differences, there's this massive disparity. They're not disparate, like between men and women. It's very much the same kind of styles of training. Just that typical idea around volume and frequency is the one that's most prevalent.
Yeah, I mean that's just to add to that. Like, I mean, I'm kind of reiterating what he's saying, but like a good example is Marissa Inder, who's like a very, very high level female powerlifter. She can still squat, bench, and deadlift twice a week with variations on those movements. Whereas someone, I mean, as you were saying, like maybe someone like Ray Williams or someone like that, like a super heavyweight powerlifter, there's just no way that they're going to be able to squat like 400 plus kilos twice a week. So just dependent on the amount of weight that you're using, you're not going to be able to repeat the same movement. Whereas, women tend to be using lesser weight. So they're probably going to be able to recover more and get more sessions in and more sets and reps in. And
they can typically just recover better than men because of the whole childbirth process. They're better at recovering. So they're more immune to that. Yeah, so essentially you've got giant really high intensity men at the lower end of the frequency and volume spectrum, and then weaker, smaller women would be at the highest end of frequency, but everyone falls in between that bracket in between the two.
Yeah, there's a large amount of individual difference even in between women as well, as far as like how much frequency, volume, and actual load they can deal with.
Yeah, and I'm like back to like, you know, about the cycle, like how is that different than men getting tired after 3 weeks of training? You know, like
it's more to do with the
men
hormonal
get-
fluctuations.
men get-
That's what they're going for.
It's about hormonal fluctuation, because
Yeah.
for men, we our testosterone spikes in the morning and then it kind of slowly drops off towards the end of the day. So it's kind of like high in the morning and then just like drops, goes high again, drops. But it's very like stays within a pretty tight bracket from day to day. It's kind of just like that's the level that you're going to stay in. Whereas women obviously are hormonally, there's the fluctuation is a lot more aggressive. And it's not based over 24 hours. It's based over 28 days. So over 28 days, that's quite a significant amount of difference hormonally, and that can definitely have some effect on your strength. But like what I was just saying at the beginning is it's not necessarily going to be that noticeable as a beginner.
Yeah. Usually, what I do is I do like 3 weeks waves and the 4 weeks, and I always try to tell them like, okay, we try to like manage the 4 week, your deload week is gonna come like a cycle week. So we build up the weights. Let's say you squat 50 kilos in week 1, 55, and then 60 in week 3, and then we do a deload when you have your cycle, or just skip that week if it's like it's very bad, or you just don't feel like doing nothing. But I usually do like pretty similar to men as well, like like a 3-week cycle and then do a deload. Sometimes you can push it out 4 or 5 weeks. That's the difference. But men get tired as well, and then you need to deload men as well, right?
I mean, like for me, I would put more of an element of auto regulation into it. So for myself and for clients, if I see that a woman or a man can deal with more volume and they're able to do more over the next week, like they're starting to get sore. Let's say they're like 4 or 5 weeks in and they're sore, but they're like, I can get more out of them. I will try to push them that extra week or two to really get everything out of them. And then I'm going to throw that deload in, because I'm not always personally a huge fan of throwing in deloads every 3 weeks, for example, because if you're doing a deload every 4th week, that's kind of like 2 months or more in the year where you're training at a lighter volume. And for me, or intensity or whatever, however you use your deload. But for me, I'm trying to get as much work out of them as possible without injuring them, obviously. So I'm just always trying to push them right to that level where like they really can't recover, and then I pull back. And that's why I'm just talking about auto regulation, is because I think that sometimes you'll feel like, oh, I'm super beaten up. I'm not. I literally had that this week where I was on deadlifts and I was supposed to be doing 227 for 3 sets of 4, and like the idea of it was like, oh god, that's going to be horrendous. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that. And I was training with Gus, and I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. And then you warm up, you start working on it, and then actually like, oh, actually smash through it, and it was absolutely fine. So it really can be that like on the day, there are days where you're like, oh, it's going to be horrendous, and you get through it. So I do think that there are times where, dependent on a woman's cycle, she may have to adapt her training. And if it's not there on the day, then maybe you just have to, maybe do a little bit more volume work and not bring the intensity so high or something like that. But I'm going to tend not to try to just completely cut their programming down or shorter because of their cycle. That's just my personal way of doing it, though.
Yeah, deload as and when the individual needs it.
Yeah. Because some people can deal with like 7 to 8 weeks, like I think there are people who can manage up to 8 weeks with no deload. I do think if you can manage more than 8 weeks without a deload, though, that you're probably not training with enough volume, frequency, or intensity. Like you should be pushing hard enough where after 8 weeks, you're absolutely crushed. But again, like it's up to the individual. It's going to change massively from person to person.
Okay. And then what if it's somewhat like a female and a male walk up to you? They're both beginners. They both have the same training history or non-history of training. Would you train women different than a man if they have the same goals?
Only on aspects of the things we mentioned before, like depending on their size, they'll typically be able to handle more volume.
Yeah.
So only frequency and volume, but in terms of exercise selection, would be very similar if their goals were the same.
Yeah, probably I would just say that the frequency could probably be higher with the female, and that would probably be the biggest thing that I would change, is that we probably do more sessions with the girl. Yeah.
Good. But if like, most people train, like I'd say, average people, they train 3 times a week, probably full body or something, maybe doing a class, 2 weightlifting session. Would you program differently for a woman if they have the same goal, same average weight, height, man and female?
If the goal is to do 3 a week and you're not going to change from 3 a week, then it'd probably be very similar. But I mean, again, you could probably do something like a push-pull leg. But again, with 3 a week, the issue can be that then frequency is the issue. Is that like with push-pull leg, it can work, but then you're only tapping those muscles once a week. So I would almost prefer maybe doing something like even like an upper and then a lower and then like a full body or something, so that you can hit those muscles again a second time, even if you're not necessarily having as an intense workout on the third, because it's just more volume or frequency of those same movements. But again, I probably wouldn't change it between a guy and a girl in that case. I mean, with absolute beginners, anything that you're going to be doing is going to work. Like if you're giving them proper programming and you know how to train people properly, any form of that will work.
And the other topic, like intimidation, women training weights or training around men. What would you say about it?
You want to go, Gus, or shall I?
I don't mind. It's a very contentious issue.
It is a contentious issue. It's very, very contentious issue. Yeah, we're about to get
fired, what do you mean in the particular question? What are you asking?
Nothing crazy, but you get it more often than not. Then you don't really see them around the weightlifting session. I know like our gym is a little different, but still, like you see them, 98% of the women are in classes and 98% of the men is around weights. And then you have like a little bit of coverage and cardio. And even if the women do some weights, they're going to do like machines, plated, like cable machines and something. Free weights, rarely see someone who's new and then walk into the gym and go to free weights or trying free weights or something.
Yeah.
And they say it like it's intimidating.
Yeah.
To go there.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough thing, I think, because I think when you see women actually getting into the weights room, it's a great thing when you see a woman who's completely new to training and they still have the courage to like go into that room, because it can be a little bit intimidating when you've just got like a load of big guys who are grunting and being noisy and being like me, basically. So I can understand why that would be a little bit intimidating, but I think that it should. I hope that women can try to strive towards kind of shifting. And what I try to get a lot of the women that go to my classes, for example, to do is if they go to my classes, I go, oh, you've got an issue with your lower back when you're trying to do abs and it's hurting your lower back. Well, that's because you're not doing the weightlifting. So it would be good if you could try to get in to the weights room, maybe just once a week, you're getting in there and you start doing a few simple movements, or starting with the cables, starting with like the resistance machines, and then a couple of exercises per session, you're coming over to the weights area. So you're just familiarizing yourself with that environment, because I think it's scary when you go from not going there at all to then thinking I have to spend all my time in the weights room. And it doesn't have to be that. It can be like a slow transition from either classes or functional area and all that kind of stuff and cardio to doing a few exercises in the weights area, and then just little by little, bit more, until like most of your time is spent in that area. And I think that's something that should be encouraged, because we know the benefits of weight training for men and for women. It's massively useful. So it's scary because of the fact that you're maybe imagining it as like you just have to spend all your time there. Try to transition slowly towards that, maybe.
As with anything new, it's going to take a little bit of time getting used to.
Yeah.
You develop confidence every time you go there. But I think I think with social media, this is one of the good things about social media is that a lot of the fads and misconceptions now are sort of being dispelled, and more women are using the correct exercises, going to do weightlifting, things like that. So that's much more popular, and the sort of your typical like aerobics in your room DVDs and stuff time is dead now. It's become there's a movement towards real resistance training on that side of things as well, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Gymshark, for example. There's a lot of people that have criticisms of Gymshark of like, the way that they are showing body image and unrealistic, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, and drug use in their male athletes, all that kind of stuff. But what you can say as far as Gymshark is they have kind of like pushed for women training with weights, they don't really, it's not a lot of it is women just, doing cardio and classes. A lot of like the videos of women on the Gymshark page are like women squatting and deadlifting and, like doing RDLs and doing, like pretty good stuff, and it's good. Even though that's not all that they're showing, they are showing some of that. And it's good that it is kind of starting to be pushed more and more and more that women should and can go into that weights room.
Okay, on that note, I don't know if it's so like Gymshark is trying to, because they get this blame of they only have like young, male, good-looking guys promoting their stuff all the time. And they got this blast from this like, okay, you only have this, and they always have this like okay or very, very good-looking guys mainly, or like girls as well nowadays. But they never promote body positivity or whatever you want to call it. And now they started pushing, and then they like go into a little bit of like an extreme of like, being obese is okay, or being large is good, it's okay. Just go to the gym and wear our products. And you can see like this body positivity is coming up more and more, which is, in one way it's okay. You don't have to be like a superhero, but like being large and say that that's okay, I don't think that's healthy, mentally and obviously physically either. And you can see this a lot of TikTok and everything. Like you have this large people and they like eating like crazy and like, oh, and body positivity, and then don't say I'm fat because this hurts me, and you shouldn't say it. But when can you say like, okay, like, this is not healthy, or this is not body positivity anymore? You just don't want to be offended.
My opinion on body positivity, and I'm probably going to get a lot of shit from this. It's fine, whatever. I think that what body positivity should be about is about accepting your body if there's something that's, considered abnormal about your body. Whatever that could be, you have an amputation, you have scars, you have, burns, you have whatever. Those are like really difficult things to deal with about your own body. And they're also something that you can't change. They're also something that there's nothing that you can do about. And, maybe you can have surgeries and stuff like that to try and help with these things. But, the fact is, if you've got like some kind of issue physically, that to me is what body positivity should be about, is that we're not shaming people, we're not mocking people because they have some form of disability, But when the idea of body positivity is gone, as you kind of say, to the extreme now, where we're saying it's completely fine to be obese and, love your roles and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, it's okay to be like slightly overweight or whatever. And I don't care because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. But we should not be promoting this as like a healthy lifestyle, because it's not healthy to be overweight. And that there's no question, there's no debate here. It is unhealthy to be fat. If you are overweight, and I'm talking really overweight, your health markers will be worse. It's as simple as that. If you want to come argue with me, argue with me. But we know it from thousands of studies how badly obesity can, ruin your health. It can cause higher mortalities with stuff like the pandemic. Like we've seen that obesity is hugely important in the number of deaths. Obesity was one of the biggest factors in death rates. So all of these things are like, to me, body positivity is kind of taken a bit of a weird right turn.
Yes.
Yeah, I think people get what they're trying to do is it's a disingenuous way to capitalize on the market, right? So if they had always shown people that say didn't have the Superman physique or things like that, they're kind of going what you see now in more of their advertising, to go back to the Gymshark thing, is more sort of normal, in inverted commas, looking people that could still be very fit, but they don't have the superhero look. But it's only come out when it's become fashionable and they can make money off it. Before, when they were making loads of money off people trying to get these unattainable physiques, because there's typically like a plague of their athletes are sort of fake natties, as they call it, and everyone, but they're like all really cleverly cherry picked into the point where you go like, well, maybe they're natural, potentially, and it's like, okay, yeah, maybe a genetic elite potentially, but it always almost comes out, and then you see that video on YouTube where the guy goes, I'm actually on medicinal TRT and I'm 17.
Yeah. It's actually clinical and it's for health.
Yeah, I needed it, but like it's all comes from like they've been taking PEDs for a long period of time. Following what Charlie says, I mean, obesity causes an increase in all-cause mortality. Okay, so they've sort of twisted what body positivity is, which is sort of accepting like you don't have to have the upper echelons of a certain physique, and you could still be really healthy and really capable and able to do amazing things. You just don't look like Batman. Let's use Batman. But they've twisted that and taken that to an extreme, which is the real problem of that is it's pernicious, because then you've got generations and generations of people that instead of like as they start to put weight on in their youth, or their parents like calling them out and saying, oh, let's go outside, do more exercise. They go, this is body positivity. You have just got to do what you got to do. Whereas there is a lot about when you're a child, you're educated by your parents or guardian or anything like that, and they guide you down the path of how to be healthy. Like they inform you that smoking is bad, and it's become this sort of like taboo subject that to say that you shouldn't eat an excessive amount of calories, even though it's linked to blocking your arteries, and you can see it with like visceral fat and all that kind of stuff. That in some way you're attacking that person, that their level of body fat has become part of their personality. Now, obviously,
their identity,
yeah, like obviously, yes, they're always the counter argument to that is they say there's some genetic conditions like lipedema and things like that where you do just have more fat and there's nothing you do about it. But you're using a strawman argument of a very small percentage of the population in order to justify sort of imposing this belief that being overweight or obese is good for you, whereas in reality, you're just shortening the length of people's lives as a whole. And it's an insidious thing to do. You may think you're doing something really profound, but the reality is you're making people live for less time and see their loved ones for far less long, see their grandparents far less long. Everyone dies quicker when they're obese.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah.
No, it's completely true. I agree with everything you said there.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a little bit of excuse. So someone is obese and then they can say like, okay, like it don't hurt me. I'm like, this is body positivity. Like I want to feel good in my body.
Yeah.
But first of all, I don't think you feel good in your body because you probably have high, blood pressure. You close if you're not already have diabetes. You gas out just to go upstairs. It's hard to tie up your shoes. So you're already like limiting yourself to be just an average person.
I mean, that's your body telling you that it's not good. That's like you're literally your body inside yourself is going, don't do this.
Yeah.
Here are links to why this is bad for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess most people feel it. Like, like we're not designed to be obese. Like we're designed to move and have a certain body fat percentage, but anything over that, you don't see like fat animals in nature unless it has this purpose, like a penguin or like something
a bear
like that.
hibernating.
Yeah. And otherwise, you don't see fat animals in Animal Kingdom. So I don't think we designed to that. We just get too comfortable and obviously like we had the good consumers. Okay, but on that note, I'm gonna hold you back too much, guys. Just finishing note. So we have some changes in the gym. This month we got rid of some treadmills, so we get more space. We were like really happy for it. Yeah,
and we gained so much equipment,
and we've gained
so much.
They got rid of it, and then they put so much new stuff in.
Man, I think we should, like, whenever we get rid of stuff, it's so good because we get at least the same amount of stuff back in. Yeah. So many things.
The gym it's not like they moved empty at all. It doesn't feel empty at all, and it doesn't at all in any way feel like they're trying to spread the equipment out more to make the same space feel the same with less.
And look, we actually net lost stuff. It doesn't feel like that. Doesn't feel like that.
Doesn't feel that way at all.
Yeah, the way they rearrange the way they rearrange stuff is still weird with the assisted pull-up.
Assisted pull-up's the weirdest one because it literally was in the perfect spot.
And now you're looking at people on treadmills. Like I'm doing dips, staring at like some poor woman while I'm just screaming out weighted dips.
Exactly, yeah. And what I was gonna say, the moving the weight tree, and then you had like the plate and the plated and the free weights in one place, and then we have the cable machine the other side. And now they put two plated, or like the preacher curl and the shoulder press to the other side. So we have to put plates on the other side of the gym. And now we already have like less plates. And now we have like even less plates on the one side. And it was just.
Well, we have a preacher curl. We have a preacher curl and a shoulder press, and we have like 20 plates for those two pieces of equipment that then just get carried back and forth between there and the actual weight room. So it's kind of like, I've just thought though, you know what could be a good idea, and we're going to call them out right now. What we should do is bring the shoulder press back and the easy bar, preacher curl and all that back to the normal weight room, and then just put all those extra benches that they insisted on so much in that space there.
Yeah. I don't understand why is it there. Right?
And we should move that dumbbell rack back as well. The dumbbell rack is in the wrong place. Not the dumbbell rack, sorry, the barbell rack.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was wondering what you're talking about there. Yeah.
But I like the fact the removal company has a one move policy. So they go, we're just going to try this out, but they only move it once. So their sort of like mantra is, we just try it out, it'll be fine. And they're like, don't worry, we'll try it out, but we only move things once. So then you ask them, and you go, will you move it back? And they go, no, we only move things once.
Yeah.
And you go, how are you trying it out? And they go, well, I don't know, we just try it out, see if it works. Will you move it back?
Enjoy it.
I won't move it back because we only move once. So what do we have to get a different team that moves it once, but they move it back the other direction? And then they're like, your insurance. They're like, don't move it because your insurance doesn't cover it.
Yeah.
You're like, brilliant. Thank you, random person moving things in the wrong place. Brilliant.
Never trained here.
Yeah. Have you got? And then they're like, do you have any say in it whatsoever? They're like, just try it out.
All right. And then if you can choose one equipment, what would you get? Like we have a lot of space now. You can rearrange the gym however you want it. Ooh. Actually, like you can have two. One which is good for the gym, and what you want.
Oh, easy. Deadlift platform, bench press.
I love it because we already have multiple of those. But Gus is like,
we also have 3,000
members.
We have 2 and we have 3,000 members.
That's true.
I reckon we could have 3. One for every 1,000 people.
For me, sled.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have a track with a sled. That would be good. For the gym, I think a good piece of kit that we should have is, and I know I've said this before and probably boring everyone by now, but incline plate loaded press. I want one, and there's one in all the other Pure gyms. Why can't we have one?
It's not that good.
Hey, Brighton Central. Why can't we have one, Brighton Central? Give it to me.
It's because they only move it once. They moved it into the stock room, and then they can't move out again now because they've got a one move policy.
Shame.
I think we're gonna get that. To be honest, if you're gonna get anything, that's gonna be the first one to get, because even if it's just transported from another gym or something, it's probably that's the cheapest.
It is cheap.
It's like that's a platform. It should be easy.
The bench is cheap though. A bench press is well cheap.
A bench is well, actually, a platform's cheap as well. A platform's like 500 quid or something. It's not that much.
Yeah. It's probably the bumper plates, which is
that's it. I think that they'd probably be like, yeah, but now
we need those. We need those. We've got no weights in the gym anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's all down to the fact that half of them are down the other side of the gym. We're all
even when you go check that out, people have taken so many home that even when you go there and check it, it's there's still very, very few 20 plates and things like that left in the gym.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah. Okay. Last question: what do you expect for October, the mini January? What do you think? What we're looking at? Because
younger people will join.
Like summer was dead, man, but now it's like last Tuesday we were on shift, like 115 people. Like felt like
you could start to feel it. Yeah, you could start to feel it. It felt buzzier and a bit more nightclubish. That's when you know peak is coming. Yeah. Where you have to sort of like queue to get down the corridor. That's when you know it's getting busy again. Yeah. I mean, it's just probably it's just going to get busy. I mean, I think in October we're probably going to be looking at having a bit higher numbers of newcomers and probably some more students and stuff like that coming back in and all that stuff. Really.
Yeah.
Cool.
Same.
Man, a few words.
Correct.
Younger
people will be in it.
You still train your clients afternoon or whenever?
Sorry?
You still train your clients afternoon in the busy gym?
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
I mean, afternoon's fine. The only time it's like really a bit crap is like 6, 7 p.m. Other than that, it's kind of fine.
It's still so quiet. I don't think it's going to get rammed in October.
Yeah, it's not crazy. Like it's okay. It's not really bad.
We're still looking at like peak time now. It's like what the quietest time was
a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, but with Milan, with the last treadmill, like last Tuesday, every treadmill was used. I know we only have like 12 now. Or something. But it was weird. Like everything was like on and.
Well, a few years ago, you'd have literally like a couple, 2 or 3 people just standing at the end of the treadmills, just like waiting for someone to get off them. That's how much, even like 3-4 years ago, people were using treadmills versus weights. Now it's everyone's queuing for the weights, but that's why we need more of it.
Sweet. Okay, guys. Thank you. Let people know where they can find you or what's your specialty, and you can say goodbye.
What's our specialty? So yes, strength and conditioning, and you can find me Gus Lawson Fitness on Instagram. Technically TikTok, but it's not really real.
Same for me on TikTok, yeah. So you can find me at CJP Strength Training. That's on Instagram. You can also go to cjpstrengthtraining.com. That's my website if you want to check out all my details there. Obviously, I'm a strength and conditioning coach as well as a strongman and powerlifter. So that's kind of what I work on mostly, but I do work with Gen Pop as well. Biggest thing I think that we should probably talk about just very quickly is just that we do have a new podcast out. If you would like to go have a look at it, it is quite good. It's quite short. It's very informative, and we do get a little bit silly, but it's good fun. And it's about 15 minutes, and it's called Black Iron Brothers. So if you want to go check that out, please do go have a look.
Have a look.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's already down in the description, guys. So if you're watching this video, it's
awesome.
The top
Thank you.
one. You can
very nice.
There. So thank you very much, guys.
Bye.
It was great as always.
Cheers.
Thank
See
you, mate.
Tomorrow. Peace
Bye.
out.
Yeah.